Hello, this is Doctors Bob, Anthony Kaysen, and Debbie DeMaria with another half hour of health living tip for you. And tonight we're going to talk about inflammation disease conditions. You know, you guys, just thinking about the word dis-ease, lack of ease, was very fascinating that right now I've read so many different research papers. Are you ready for this? 95% of your health problems is directly caused by you. What you put in and on your body, your posture, your alignment, your nervous system, the friends you hang around with, toxic friends, toxic relationships. Well, we have an array of items that we want to discuss this evening. And I think we're going to start right in the middle there with Dr. Anthony, who has the most important structure, the spine and the nervous system.
So this is your spine. This is physically inside of your body. And one of the greatest things about the spine is it protects your nervous system, just like your skull protects your brain and your rib cages protect your lungs. These vertebrae are protecting your spinal cord. And you say, well, Dr. Anthony, why is that so important? Your spinal cord is what sends the messages from your brain to your body throughout your entire life. So as Dr. Kaysen is holding this up for me, this is an example of what your spinal cord it looks like on the inside. So out here are all of these ports going to all the other little computer chips or organs in your body. So if those aren't functioning right, if they're out of position, those switches are essentially off and they're not functioning like they should be. So what we do as chiropractors is we look to find the switches that are off and we work on putting them back on, and we allow your body to start healing itself. And I think some of the greatest insight we could give you today is your body heals itself from above, down, and inside out. And medicine and traditional medicine would like to think, or would like you to think of it differently, as putting in pills is health and getting health from a pill versus getting it from health and wellness and your brain's ability to communicate with yourself. So I know that we're going to be talking about some inflammatory disease conditions. We're going to give you some tips on how to avoid being inflamed and avoid those conditions. So,
well, you know what I want to point out before we start in all this is that unless you take your spine serious and get your spine in proper alignment, even the foods you eat will not be assimilated as well as it would be as if you were in proper alignment. I know a lot of people are always saying, well, what vitamins can I take and what can I do to my body? But they don't have the understanding. If your body is subluxated, it won't be able to process the nutritional support you're giving it, whether it's in food or whether it's in a supplement, to the organs and tissues in the body that needs to go to. So your spine is number one.
Okay, so let me talk to you about a few different things here. Your brain sits in the skull, continues on inside of the column that Dr. Anthony was pointing out to you. Now listen to this. When the bone goes out of alignment and it puts pressure on sensitive nerves, we call that a subluxation. So a subluxation is like a switch being off inside of your body. What causes subluxation, Dr. Bob? I'm glad you asked that. Poor posture, poor sleeping habits, car accidents, traumas, slips, even your birth process. As Dr. Anthony has said in the past, gravity never takes a vacation. But one other area that we have been so blessed to learn is that what you eat in our toxic society today can cause what we call a visceral somatic subluxation. Inflammation can be caused by what you're eating. Very interesting. Dr. Kaysen, let's talk about some of the fruits that you have there in front of you. What fruits are good and what may be a little bit more challenging than others?
So what fruits are good would be red apples, plums, and pears. And you want to do organic whenever possible. And I know that we do organic all the time just because of the pesticides that they put on different types of fruits these days. And a lot of people, they like the sweeter things like the green apple, but we know that this impairs your digestion, and the plums and the pears and the red apples help to put decrease stress on your adrenal glands and on your body. So it's more importantly to focus on the red apples versus the green apples.
That's really tremendous. And I know that I have something here that's really very interesting also. I'm going to stretch your brain a little bit right now. This is an orange. I know it's kind of silly, but we don't promote orange juice. You never hear us talk about orange juice. If you're going to have oranges, you live in Florida, the temperature should be warm. Here, anytime north of the Mason-Dixon line, when the temperature is less than 60 degrees and you consume citrus, it'll create mucus in your intestines. Now, we have some very interesting nutritional assessment tools in our practice. And one of them is called a galvanic skin response, which is biocommunication. And this is one of the tools that we make available to our patients. And oftentimes we can check for food stressors. And what I have learned in my own personal research over time is when somebody has stress from citrus, oftentimes they need a vitamin called pantothenic acid, which is a B vitamin, and they need more protein. But Dr. Kaysen just said something very interesting. Adrenal gland stress. Your adrenal gland is a pair of glands on top of your kidneys that make natural hormones from taking away pain. If you consume citrus, you say, well, Dr. Bob, I love citrus. I'm not telling you to stop citrus, but I might suggest you do a diet sheet, and if you're eating a lot of citrus and you're having some symptoms of fatigue, go off the citrus for a month. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised.
Dr. Bob, when we were talking and you started out, even like with the citrus and the fruit and everything, you were talking about inflammation. Well, what is inflammation in the body, and what is the diseases that people would relate inflammation to?
Well, inflammation in your body has everything to do with fat metabolism. And Dr. Anthony and Kaysen and myself in the past have talked about omega-6 and omega-3 fats. And we've been really blessed to have written 7 books, and one of the books is Dr. Bob's Trans Fat Survival Guide. Our body has pain or pain relief all based on fat. Omega-6 fats are safflower oil, sunflower oil, corn oil, rice oil, soybean oil. Those fats, now listen, I'm going to word this to you, can take away pain. And if you consume too much of that, which we know historically right now we do, can create pain. The fat we do not eat enough of is the omega-3 fats, which is found in walnuts, flax oil, and the next health food, which I'll not tell you, but somebody on the panel will hear in a moment. Those fats, corn oil, safflower oil, sunflower oil, rice oil, can cause pain and inflammation. And so what we promote in our office is good oil. What happens, and the reason I mentioned the citrus, and Dr. Kaysen mentioned the other fruits, is a very important gland in your body called the adrenal gland. The adrenal gland makes natural cortisone to take away the inflammation. So when you're doing bananas, raisins, and grapes, you're stressing the adrenal gland. So they're not bad foods, but in America, we have an addiction for eating bigger and better and as much as we can, and it's usually the sweeter of all the foods. Kind of fascinating, huh, Dr. Anthony?
It is. We were recently, we were reading an article online that Dr. Kaysen pulled up for me because she's always doing research on the latest things that are out there, and it was about portion control. And then one of the interesting things about all of these things that we're talking about with fats is the sizes and the proportions today in 2012 as compared to 50 years ago are 2 and 3 times larger than they used to be. Bagels used to be the size of a CD and even smaller than that, and much smaller portion sizes. Even the size of steaks that used to be out there were 3 ounces the size of a card in a deck of cards. So really encourage you, if you're starting on your wellness lifestyle and your chiropractic healthy lifestyle, is to really watch the portion size when you're having meals. But one of the things that we want to talk about, besides all of these other things that cause inflammation, is some of the foods that you can eat to stop inflammation. So I'm going to have Dr. Kaysen talk to you about our new superfood.
Our new superfood that we have started to fall in love with is kale. So they say kale is the new beef. I never thought I'd be saying that, but kale is the new beef. But kale, they were saying that the top benefits of kale are for the fiber, increase the omega-3s in your body, which helps to fight the inflammation. Saying that it has higher iron, so you're getting your protein also, and it's chlorophyll. You get all your nutrients. It's one of the green leafy vegetables that has the most nutrients in it. And you can do a lot of different things with kale. I know that we've been doing kale in our salads. We steam kale. Sometimes we make soup and we just put a few cups of kale in the soup, and it absorbs all of the chicken broth and the juice from it. We've been making kale chips, and that's a great treat. All you have to do is bake the kale and then a little bit of olive oil and Celtic sea salt and pepper. So you can do a lot of fun things with it.
That sounds really good. It does.
Well, it also has magnesium in it, and I know that there are people watching us right now that have challenges having bowel movements, and everybody watching me right now, you should have pooped twice today. Now, some of you might have pooped 3 times, weird little star on your forehead, but for those of you that aren't pooping, you need to be in our office, because one of the leading causes of constipation, besides lack of green food, is misalignment or subluxation in your lower lumbar area and subpar thyroid function. Your thyroid gland is your gas pedal in your body. If you have cold hands and cold feet, wide-spaced teeth, thinning eyebrows, you have a constipation issue. Deb, let's talk a little bit about these foods right here.
Oh my goodness, this is like the new buzz in our office.
That's right.
too, isn't it?
This is a new discovery.
I know.
Like, this has never been shared with ever before in public.
No, this is exciting.
Okay, it is. It's actually phenomenal what I'm going to share with you right now. So Debbie's holding in her hand right now a red and green peppers and a tomato. So think about what I'm going to share with you. It's called a nightshade. Tomatoes, potatoes, eggplant, and green pepper. Well, we have different nutritional assessment tools in our office that we can use to assess individuals. It's a snapshot of the current state of health. Well, one of the items that we've actually been doing research for around the world is something called biocommunication, which has been FDA approved. It's uncannily accurate. It's where you put your hand on a hand cradle, and the computer is set up in such a wonderful way that it measures electronic signatures in your body. See, science has advanced exponentially. And what has happened is that we have the ability, through a galvanic skin response, to do a measurement of foods. And one of them we can do is called a food stressor. Well, quite recently, I've been having more and more patients come into the office that is showing red peppers or peppers, potatoes, tomatoes, eggplant, and nicotine. And it confounded me, and I couldn't figure out, why are these people having nicotine? I know most of them are Christians, they don't smoke, they don't drink alcohol, and they have pure lifestyles. Well, the reason is, we'll share it after the break. We'll be right back. Hello, this is Drs. Bob, Anthony Kaysen, and Debbie DeMaria. Welcome once again to our Half Off Health program. And for those of you that have been channel surfing, and I just love it, when we're walking and traveling all over the United States, and especially in Northern Ohio, people come up and say, hey, Dr. Bob, we watch you on TV. And recently, somebody in my family was at a wake, and they said that her husband watched us each and every Saturday. We are the high point of his life. So we thank all of you. Send us an email, join us, follow us on Facebook, go to North Coast Chiropractic and become a friend. We have recipes and a lot of wonderful information. Go to Google, type in our names. There's lots of information, but I'm stalling. I'm stalling because I'm going to give you the answer. Tomatoes, potatoes, eggplant, and green pepper, what we have discovered over time through biocommunication, can increase the nicotine in your body. That's right. I Googled nicotine in foods, and I was totally surprised and shocked. The nightshades, tomatoes, potatoes, eggplant, and green pepper, are high in nicotinic acid. So that tells me a few things. First, you may have a deficiency in B vitamins, B as in Bravo. You may cry easy also. But what really is going on is your liver is compromised. The liver is right here in your body. It's your oil filter. Your body needs B vitamins to process chemicals. Nicotinic acid or niacin or nicotine is derived from B vitamins. Your body needs B vitamins for the liver to function optimally. So if you want to be really wise, you can come into our office as a new patient, and we are doing cutting-edge research on biocommunication technology. I mean, this is cutting edge in the whole world, and we're doing it in Northern Ohio. Okay, Dr. Anthony, you have a couple props there in front of you want to talk about?
I do, and we talked about this at the beginning of the program, how important your spine is for all the things that we're talking about. So sometimes we'll have patients that come in and say, you know what, I am pretty healthy, I eat pretty healthy things, but I still have all these problems. Well, one of the biggest ideas that we want you to get is that your brain controls all the functions of your body. Your brain continues as the spinal cord. Your spinal cord is protected by the vertebra of your spine, and as they're misaligned or out of position, it puts stress on your nervous system, and that stress is like a circuit breaker that doesn't work to your refrigerator. So I'll say that to somebody, and they'll say, well, the food's gonna go bad. And I said, yes, the food would go bad if the circuit breaker's off to your refrigerator. It's the same as if the circuit breakers or the vertebra of your spine with the nerves that come out of those segments are off, and they're not able to completely supply the function of those organs, muscles, and tissues that they're connected to. And they sit and think for a second, and they say, I got the big idea, and I'm going to be a chiropractic patient for life. And that's exactly what we want you to get, the big idea and that understanding, so that all the other things that we're talking about are good, but the very best idea is about the nervous system and your spine.
You know, it's kind of interesting as a visual for some of you watching us right now. I'm going to take it a step further from Dr. Anthony, because this happened to me several years ago, that the power went off, and it was from a squirrel that ate a transformer. And by the grace of God, I had an electric generator in the backyard, which saved our refrigerator. But let's say I did not have that, and you came into or called our office, and you said, hey, Dr. Anthony, our refrigerator's not working. And let's say before that you called your medical doctor's office, and you talked to the receptionist, and you called him and said, hey, my refrigerator's not working, what do I do? Well, that receptionist has been trained to tell you to go to the service station and buy 2 bags of ice and put it in the refrigerator. And every 4 hours you put another bag of ice in it. And over time, as one of the side effects is that the ice is dripping and gets your carpet all wet. That's a bad effect. And then you think, you know, this is kind of silly. I'm wasting money, and it's making my floor wet, and my food is being spoiled. I think I'm going to call Dr. Bob Anthony and Dr. Kaysen's receptionist and see what she would say. And what she would say is, all you have to do is go and you turn the circuit breaker on, and your refrigerator will start to work again. And there are no bad effects. Got my point? That was really important, by the way. Dr. Kaysen and Anthony, you have some like soda and diet soda and stevia there. Talk to me a little bit about what's going on right here.
Okay. So you've seen this before, the diet soda. Everyone drinks this. I mean, even sometimes people tell us they don't drink it, and we find out that they are drinking it. But this diet soda, we were just reading recently that diet soda makes you fat. And people drink diet soda and diet beverages and diet foods to try to stay skinny or get skinny. But the reality is, in this diet soda, this is how much sugar is in. You said a 12 ounce, and this is actually 16 ounce. So there's more sugar in this than actually what you're seeing. But things that are causing cancer and things like that are soda related. And people don't realize that they just need to stop drinking the soda and start drinking other things that, like flavored water or other options out there.
Dr. Kaysen, you were talking about some statistics that you heard in regard to the diet soda. What were those? Do you remember that?
So for every diet soda you drink, just if you were to consume 1 diet soda, that would increase your risk for cancer by 63%. And that's just consuming 1. And I know sometimes people can be consuming 5 a day.
So multiply that. You know, imagine what kind of risk factor they have in their life just by drinking something that's marketed every day to them.
So then what I'm holding in my hand right here is some ground up stevia. One of the great things about stevia is it is an herb that is sweet. It is not a sugar, but it is a herb. So one of the things that you could do is you could grow some stevia in your garden, and then you could use that stevia to sweeten some of the things that you have a sweet tooth for. So it'll be sidestepping those extra sugars that you're going to be placing in your food products and your beverages, because one of the things that we like to tell our patients is don't drink your calories. And you say, well, don't drink your calories. Yes. All of those beverages like soda, diet soda, all have sugars and other sort of additives, preservatives, colors, and dyes that your body processes. So it's really important that you don't drink your calories.
You know, it's kind of interesting. Clarify a few points. Diet soda has aspartame in it. And one of the side effects from aspartame is blurred vision, blindness, rashes, headaches, seizures. You don't ever want to drink diet soda at all during the summertime because heat alters the chemical compound. What I'm holding in my hand right now, this is G. It used to be called Gatorade. Now, I'm going to be really point blank with you right now. We don't promote Gatorade. And the reason we don't promote Gatorade is we look at the ingredients. Now, in America, we have an obesity. Dr. Anthony just said something very, very significant. These are liquid calories. The very first ingredient in here is sugar. Then there's sucralose, which is Splenda, which is chlorinated sugar. Now, I'm going to drop a bomb on you. Ready for this? When I travel around the United States, I go in grocery stores and I look at different products. Well, there happens to be a version of Gatorade that has something in it called brominated vegetable oil. You say, what is that, Dr. Bob? They brominate vegetable oil, and this has the possibility, not this particular one, this has colors in it, by the way, and also feign potassium. The brominated vegetable oil can cause low thyroid. So mom and dads, sports people right now, if you have kids that are using this and they start complaining about pain, it's very logical possible that the brominated vegetable oil could sabotage that person's ability for optimal thyroid function. When you have altered thyroid function, you're going to have growing pains and other pains inside of your body. We talked about a lot of different disease conditions today. I want to just throw out 2 or 3 last concepts. So you can have left neck pain because of eating bananas. Bananas have a high concentration of sugar in them. I know some of you are thinking, well, I use the banana because the banana has potassium. Cucumbers and avocados are